Now then, guys, hope we're all okay. Well, all the round of 32 games have now been completed. England only just scraping through with a pretty mediocre performance, let's put it like that, against the Democratic Republic of Congo. However, we are through Mexico at 1 a.m. on Monday morning. Obviously, there was talks of it being moved to an early kickoff due to thunderstorms. That is not the case anymore. So we do have that very, very late or early, as you might say, kickoff for England in Mexico City. But here we are. We have the round of 16 games on the screen here. For why not? Let's get ourselves started with predicting some of the games. So we've got the first one, which is kicking off tonight. It's Canada versus Morocco. I don't think either teams have been great, amazing in the tournament. I think Morocco, I said before the prediction, obviously they ended up beating the Netherlands. I predicted the other way. I think there's a few predictions we'll find if you compare them to my last set. I've actually got quite a few wrong. The main one being obviously Paraguay beating Germany. But again, I don't think Morocco were again that impressive against the Netherlands. I thought they huffed and puffed a little bit. On the attack, they have pace, they're quick, they're sharp. A bit like what I said about Japan earlier on, obviously they got knocked out by Brazil. They're quick, they're nippy, they're relentless, and they have that on the counter-attack side. Bari scored a few goals at the tournament. He's obviously just earned his transfer to Bayern Munich after a really impressive season with PSV. But I don't really see much of either of these two teams. However, I do think Morocco, being the better team on paper, will just have enough to get themselves through. I'm not quite sure their face on their stand of the tie. I think it might be France. I might be wrong. Talking about the France game, I mean, they did it against Germany, but like I said before the predictions of the round of 32 games, I don't think Germany were very impressive. I said at the back they were shaky, and they managed to concede to Paraguay, and it was a well-worked goal in the end. However, you're conceding goals. I can't say much being an England fan, you know what I mean? We struggle conceding goals, but Germany at the back weren't good enough, didn't take the chances, had a goal disallowed, which was controversial. Was it controversial? I'm not quite sure, actually. I think they were very unlucky for the goal to be ruled out. The goalkeeper was like 6'5" or something. For Paraguay, went down on the slightest contact, and it's worked, and it's worked very well for Paraguay because they've got themselves through into the round of 16. But I think this will be where their journey ends. I think France at the moment look absolutely unstoppable. You can't think of any team that can stop them. Obviously, I'd love England to win the World Cup. I just think they're really, really good. Going forward, they have 6 players. You'd say they have a starting three of Dembele, Elise, and Mbappe, and they can still bring Barcola, Doué, Cherki off the bench. It's frightening, and any team's going to struggle against France. I think Paraguay are going to find that. The next one, Brazil-Norway, I think is going to be such an interesting matchup. Norway was one of my biggest underdogs going into the tournament. I said I think is a hot take they could get to the semi-finals if they beat Brazil. It's not entirely impossible because they would face the winner of Mexico versus England. So, Norway could be looking okay. However, Brazil just have that bit of flair. They've kind of grown into the tournament a little bit more. I didn't think they were great against Japan, but the second half they controlled much better and scored 2 really good goals. I'm just not quite sure here. I really like Norway. I think Norway are really impressive. Obviously, they beat the Ivory Coast in the round of 32. I think Norway beat Brazil. I honestly do. I think they just have that bit of something, and they always seem to find the goal. When you got someone, like I said before, like Haaland, who just finds the net. Brazil don't have that. They have Vinicius Junior, of course, can pick out a special magic moment. But I just think when you have a team like a player like Haaland, in a team that's worked really, really well and has some really good players, I think Norway keep their tournament going. I really do. I think it'll be a really tight game. Could easily go to extra time and penalties. But I think Norway will just nab that one. Here we are. I really don't know what to think. I'm scared. I really don't know. I think it's safe to say, a lot of England fans will say, oh no, we're not. But we are. We are underdogs going into this game. Absolutely we are. Aztec Arena in Mexico City. It'll be 90% full of Mexico fans. They're going to make it hostile as anything. I can imagine the team reception just into the city is going to be hostile as it is. It's going to be awful. Obviously, was it something 2,200 feet above sea level? It's the highest football stadium in the world, I believe. Altitude plays a problem. Less of all these factors, and Mexico, by all accounts, have adapted to it. Although their players don't play there all the time, they've been at the camp for about a month in Mexico City, I believe. So it takes 3 to 4 weeks to acclimatise, and looks like they haven't conceded a goal yet to one, albeit they haven't played a team of much quality. I said in the round of 32 predictions, again, one of my wrong ones, I didn't think Mexico were that impressive, but I thought they were against Ecuador. I think Ecuador, I said Ecuador would go through, and I was very wrong. I think Mexico played really well against Ecuador, and I'm now a little bit more scared than I was of the prospect of playing Mexico. But would I be an England fan if I didn't say England are going to beat them? Of course I wouldn't. I dream. I think the quality that we have, although against against DR Congo, for large parts of the game, it wasn't good enough. And I think, Tuchel will know that, the players will know that. But when you have world-class players, it happens for all the other big nations, tends to anyway. World-class players, and we have 2 world-class players, maybe 3. We have Bellingham and Kane, absolutely world-class players. Kane single-handedly pretty much saving England's tournament, and Bellingham, again, could have had a couple of goals, but a couple of really good saves from the goalkeeper, and has been instrumental for our tournament so far, picking up a goal. Has he got more than 1 goal? I'm not quite sure, but he's been really good. And the other one I'd say is Declan Rice, who, although he's carrying a knock, which he said he's really struggling, he just works so hard. He's so athletic. He dropped to right back against Congo, and I think that's what really changed the game. Those substitutions, when Saka and Gordon came on, I thought Gordon was fantastic when he came on, got the assist for the Kane goal. And did he get both assists? I think he did. I think he got assists for both goals. And I thought, he completely changed the game when Rice went to right back, because he's so athletic. He can still do that job. He can run, he's strong. He was able to, which I thought the Jets struggled at times to do. He was able to stop the, I forgot his name, the Congo guy who scored the goal. And then you added Ebereze into the midfield, and there's a bit more creativity, and it worked in the end, and England finished much stronger. I think simply because of that extra bit of quality we'll have, we're going to beat Mexico. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, because it's going to be really, really, really tough. I don't think there's any questions about this one. On paper and from first sight, you go Portugal, Spain. That's a really, really great matchup. That's a tough game for both sides. Portugal, very lucky to be through. I thought Croatia's equaliser in the 13th minute of stoppage time or something, it ended up being, but that's when it got disallowed after VAR intervened, was really, really harsh. I don't quite understand why it's been disallowed. I think they introduced a technique that I don't think has been used at the World Cup so far, which is the sound thing on the ball. There's some sort of thing where you can tell if it hits the player, and something's come up on some sort of system that they have that said this come off for a Croatia player, so it's offside, as it's been played through to the offside player. But in plain sight, even in the close-up replay, it looks like it comes off a Portugal back. I think they're very lucky. I think they're very impressive. Croatia had, I think, 2 goals disallowed for offside as well. Obviously, Portugal did with the Ronaldo goal. However, I still think they have that. I think before the tournament, I think a lot of people, including myself, were hyping them up to be a real potential winner, if anything. And I think they've been so underwhelming at midfield. You look at it, João Neves, Vitinha and Bruno Fernandes should be the best midfield at this tournament. It hasn't been. It's been far off it. And Spain have grown into the tournament. Obviously, the disappointing first result with a 0-0 draw against Cape Verde. But since then have looked so assured, and with a really, really, really positive and dominant win over Austria. And I think, again, that could be a couple of goals to the good against Portugal in that one. I think this one speaks for itself as well. The USA look so good, look so dangerous. Belgium very lucky to be through. 2 very late goals in the 90 after being 2-0 down against Senegal, and a penalty, the last kick of the game in extra time to send them through. I don't think, again, they're very impressive. They haven't done a lot. The USA, on the other hand, I think have been really, really good. Balogun, I believe, got sent off in the last game. That's the only downer for the USA. They're going to be missing the main talisman at the tournament for if it's a straight red card. I'm not sure what it's for. It might just be for this game. It could be for the rest of the tournament. I don't think it was for serious foul play or what it was. Obviously, it might be a 1-match ban. It might be a 3-match ban. I'll have to double check with that one. But for a tie against a Belgian team that it's never going to be easy. These games, none of these games will be easy because they're all in round of 16 for a reason. I just don't think Belgium have enough, even with USA without Balogun. I think USA have enough quality that, again, if the home advantage, it'll be full of American supporters, I don't see a world where Belgium beat the United States. I might be wrong. I hate to say it. I like the United States. I think they've got a really good squad. They've got a really good manager in Pochettino who knows what he's doing. And he seems to be playing really, really well and don't look like a side that's going to go out anytime soon. I think the Americans won't have a point to prove with their kind of brand of football and how football is over in America. And I don't see them slowing down just yet anyway, because I believe if this happens, they play Spain in the next game, and I think that will be where the tournament ends. But we've got to get there first. Argentina beat Egypt, I think that's fair to say. Again, against Cape Verde, we're so unlucky against Argentina. Last night I watched the game. I thought Argentina, for large parts, were largely unimpressive. Thought Cape Verde would have been worthy of taking its penalties. I think Argentina were always going to win. It was a shame, really, because I thought that Cape Verde, especially the goalkeeper, I thought he was outstanding again, like he was in the opening game against Spain. But when you have, I think he's got to be, Lionel Messi is still one of the best players in the world. He is so good. He turns up and he provides for Argentina nearly every single time. And the goal that he scored again is a great ball at the top. But Messi still has the hard part, which is taking it under control and finishing from a tight angle with a defender following him. And he just does it so well all the time. It's a typical Messi goal. Thinking of the goal he scored in the 2018 World Cup, I believe it was, ended up winning goal of the tournament. It's similar. This time it was at the near post, not the far post. He's just so good. And again, Egypt have Salah, but Messi's on a different level. And I think in these big games, you rely on your big players. Like I said, with Kane and Bellingham for England, and the same with Haaland for Norway, I think Argentina are going to have to rely on Messi. Because I don't think, as a team, they're that good. But he is one of the best players in the world still, and has been, in my opinion, the best player of all time, and still is, and has been for years, the best player, and now one of the best players still. So when you got someone like Messi in your team, you're gonna have to do very well to beat an Argentina with a Messi. I think it'll be closer than people may think. This isn't going to be a 2-3-4-0 job, but Argentina, I think, will go through ultimately. And the final game of the round of 16, and they said round of 32, that's been Switzerland-Colombia, which I think is going to be the tightest matchup out of all of them. I think both of them have been quite good so far. I think Colombia out of the two I've been more impressed with. I think they should have beat Portugal. Like I said in the last video, they were so unlucky to have the Davinson Sanchez header ruled out. But I think Switzerland have been really positive. I think it's the first time they've won a knockout game in World Cup history for them. So they'll be well up for it. They'll want to keep rewriting history for their national team. But I think there's something about South American teams at this tournament that are scary. Like I said, obviously with Mexico being, take away the fact they're a host nation, I think they're an okay outfit as well. South American teams do just tend to scare me a little bit more. Colombia are nasty. They're a nasty team. They're gonna tug at you. They're gonna put a tackle in, some hard tackles, and the Colombian fans are gonna fill that stadium, and they're gonna create a big atmosphere, which is gonna be hard for the Swiss. And I think it'll prove to be too hard for the Swiss. I absolutely think that Colombia beat Switzerland again. I think it'll be the closest out of any of the round of 16 games, but I just see Colombia pipping Switzerland to that final quarter-final spot. Well, let's have a look. I've gone with France, Morocco, Norway, England, Spain, USA, Argentina and Colombia to make it to this year's World Cup quarterfinals. And these would be the ties. France, Morocco, which is what was the semi-final in the 2022 World Cup. Spain versus the USA, Norway, England and Argentina, Colombia. And again, we'll see what happens, see how successful and how correct my predictions are. I had some bad ones in the last one, so hopefully these ones, especially for England, come true and we see, because I think these are four really, really good games here that could go in any direction, maybe except from the Spain-USA one. I don't know. I think USA would probably be the least favourite to get through out of all these. I don't know. We'll see. They might not even make it to the quarterfinals. Who knows? But thanks for tuning in again, guys. And hopefully the next time I see you, we will see England in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. See you next one, guys. Come on, England!